Okay, in this lecture, I will give some brief ideas about the concept of sampling in plant ecology. So, what is sampling? Based on a review of several dictionary definitions, sampling is the act or process of selecting a part of something with the intent of showing the quality, style, or nature of the whole. So, what is sampling in ecology? So, monitoring, for instance, does not always involve sampling techniques. Sometimes you can count or measure all individual within a population of interest, or what we call as a census. Other times, you may select qualitative techniques that are not intended to show the quality, style, or nature of the whole population. So again, why do we need to sample? If you want to know what kind of plants are in a particular habitat and how many there are of each species, it is usually impossible to go and count each and every one present. It will be like trying to count different sizes and colors of grains of sand on the beach. So, in my case, or in my student case, to count how many rice plant for the whole paddy field. So again, this problem is usually solved by taking a number of samples from around the habitat, making the necessary assumption that these samples are representative of the habitat in general. In order to be reasonably sure that the results from the samples do represent the habitat as closely as possible, careful planning beforehand is essential. Sampling will not only reduce the amount of work and cost associated with characterization of population, sampling can also increase the accuracy of the data gathered. In all data collection procedures, and by focusing on a smaller fraction of the population, more attention can be directed toward improving the accuracy of the data collected. Samples are usually taken using a standard sampling unit of some kind. This to ensure that all of the samples represent the same area of the habitat for each time. The type of sampling unit you select depends on the vegetation attribute you are measuring, which should be detailed in a specific management objective. You can look at the density, at the cover, the frequency, and biomass. These are some vegetation attributes most commonly monitored. Attributes related to individual plants such as height, number of flowers, number of fruits per plant are also often of interest. So here are types of sampling units that are relevant to the monitoring of plant population, or when you do the sampling of plant population. You can look at either in the individual plants, where you look at one by one and look at the specific individual of the each plants. You can also look at the plant parts, where you can look at fruits or flower or the specific even leaves that you want to use as a sampling unit. The most popular one is quadrats and also the lines, which is using the plots and also the transects. We will discuss this in a later uh, section on the different lecture. We also can use points when cover is measured. When you want to look at plant cover, usually we can use points as one of the sampling units. We also can use point frames, and if you want to look at usually at the density of certain plants, we can use distance or plotless sampling units. The usual sampling unit is, of course, the quadrat. Quadrats normally consist of a square frame. Okay, the most frequently used is being a 1 meter square. The purpose of using a quadrat is to enable comparable samples to be obtained from areas of consistent size and shape. Rectangular quadrats or even a circle quadrats have been used in some surveys. It does not really matter what shape or quadrat is used, provided it is a standard sampling unit and its shape and measurement are stated in any write-up or in your material methods, basically. It may, however, be better to stick to the traditional square frame unless there are very good reason not to, because the yields data, because this will yield data that is more readily comparable to other published research. For instance, you can compare data obtained using a circular quadrat with data obtained using a square quadrat. The difference in shape of the sampling units will introduce variation in the results obtained. There are three main ways of taking samples, which is random samples, systematic sampling. This includes line transect and belt transect methods, and the last one is stratified sampling. So the question is, which method to use?